Here we go.
Today's Skip Bayless Show brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Look, I don't know for sure what was going on with what cameras caught Brittney Griner saying on the bench after she had fouled out against Caitlin Clark's Fever in Atlanta. I waited to comment on this until the WNBA was able to investigate it. I wanted them to issue a statement about it, but we have heard nothing from the WNBA, absolutely nothing. And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, "fucking white girl." Now, I think it was my old friend Jamel Hill, used to work with her at ESPN. I believe Jamel said Griner actually said fucking whack call, and that could be the case. I'm not a lip reader. But it sure looks to me like the last word is girl, not call. Tell me I'm wrong. So Griner didn't commit her sixth foul on Caitlin Clark. It was actually on Natasha Howard. And I have seen the pre- and post-game video of Griner shaking hands with Caitlin Clark and even giving Caitlin Clark a quick hug. So I'm not making the case Brittney Griner personally hates Caitlin Clark. Now, it's also possible Brittney Griner was talking about a female white referee, though I'm not completely sure she'd call a ref a girl. Wouldn't she say white lady, white woman? I don't know. Could be wrong. But it is completely possible that fucking white girl was about Caitlin Clark's popularity, about her stature, about her impact on the entire league. It's very possible that Brittney Griner was blaming Caitlin Clark in the big picture for her fouling out, blaming referees in general for overprotecting the Fever because the league wants the Fever to win and the fucking white girl to be MVP because the fucking white girl sells tickets and detonates ratings. That resentment would be an extremely plausible reason for Brittney Griner in the heat of the sixth foul moment to sit down on the bench and go fucking white girl. And by the way, one of Griner's teammates, Ryan Howard, had gotten into it with Caitlin Clark in the first quarter of that game. After they banged into each other, there was some pushing and shoving, and it looked like Caitlin Clark said, "I'm not afraid of you." I've said many times that Caitlin Clark got roughed up repeatedly by defenders throughout her rookie year last year. It was attempted bullying, trying to break her spirit, intimidate her, put her in her place, get even with her for all the attention she was getting. But this season, it appears Caitlin is more committed to pushing back, even initiating some of the pushing as she did when she was correctly hit with a technical foul for giving Angel Reese, her arch rival, a little shove at the end of a hard foul. Should have been a tech, was a tech. But regardless of why Brittney Griner said what she said, or at whom she said it, I want to know, is the WNBA okay with one of its players saying fucking white girl on the bench and getting caught by TV cameras saying such? I guess they are. I guess they're okay with it. Obviously, the league would very much not be okay with a white player saying fucking black girl on the bench in anger and getting caught by TV cameras. That would be an immediate suspension, if not a career ender for said white girl. But because the league is 60+% black, that makes it okay for a black player to say fucking white girl in anger without repercussions? I guess so. Just me, I find that phrase offensive And I'll bet a lot of white fans found it offensive, and maybe even some black fans considered it offensive. Does the WNBA think that viral video of that remark was good for business? Did the WNBA look into the matter and just decide to ignore it? Was it just too hot to handle? Man, I thought maybe Brittney Griner would either make a statement about it to the media or post a statement on social media. Nope. So all I guess I can conclude is that she stands behind what she said. Maybe teammates and other players around the league either told her or texted her that they were proud of her for saying what they all wish they could say. Maybe lots of WNBA players had Brittney Griner's back. I believe many WNBA players remain extremely resentful of Caitlin Clark's rise, in part, maybe large part, because of her skin color and her appeal to white America, especially conservative white America. I still say Caitlin Clark is a solution, a godsend of a gift that has launched WNBA ratings into a stratosphere this league would never have known without her. But the solution is still a black-white problem this league hasn't been able to solve. I believe too many of this league's stars still see Caitlin Clark as the fucking white girl. I saw a headline the other day in The Athletic, and this was it. The most anonymous monster season ever? A headline that did not need that question mark at the end of it. This is the most anonymous monster season ever. But I fear that bringing this up will just prompt you to turn me right off. My point immediately becomes your yawning counterpoint. So now please allow me just a minute to convince you that you are missing revolutionary basketball history, a dynastic monster created right before your very eyes that are closed. The Oklahoma City Thunder are about to cap off what very well could be the greatest season in NBA history. And nobody seems to care outside of Oklahoma City. The Thunder are revolutionizing the way basketball games are won at the very highest level, and nobody seems to notice nationally. You should be witnessing the launch of a dynasty. This is the youngest finals team since Bill Walton's Trailblazers in 1977, and Oklahoma City has Oklahoma oil fields full of future first-round draft picks. They have 13 first-rounders in the next 7 drafts. Yet America seems to be shrugging and saying, wake us up when this is over. I don't know. Maybe if the Thunder sweep the Pacers with 4 blowouts, then America will notice. And I believe that is the Thunder's private goal, to prove their all-time greatness, to shut up the doubters and the haters with 4 straight dominating wins over the Pacers, who, by the way, are now becoming America's darlings, the NBA's version of Hoosiers, the biggest finals underdogs in 20 years, potentially the biggest preseason underdog at 50-1 to win a finals in 50 years, led by the charismatically lovable Tyrese Halliburton, who now has more telegenic star power than the entire Oklahoma City team combined. I've already said Thunder in 5. That's the favored outcome by the odds makers, believe it or not. But I will not at all be surprised if the Thunder sweep convincingly and resoundingly. A sweep, believe it or not, is the second favored choice of the odds makers. That's how one-sided this thing is. I thought, silly me, I thought America loved awe-inspiring. I thought fans are magnetized by seeing something in sports they've never seen before, addicted to the astonishing. The Thunder are the most astonishing basketball team I've seen since Michael Jordan's 1998 Bulls, a team I covered as a columnist for the Chicago Tribune, the Last Dance Bulls of Netflix fame. Would somebody out there please wake up and see what you're missing? Somebody, please. Okay. I do take some responsibility for this. I do bear some guilt for this national narrative or lack thereof. I have been driving the Thunder bandwagon all season long since I picked them to win the loaded Western Conference before the season began. I'm sure this drove some people nuts, helped drive the Thunder bandwagon right over the cliff because some skip haters out there condemned me as a bandwagon jumper. Okay, so maybe I have driven away lots of potential Thunder fans with my relentless horn honking for this team. Honk, honk, honk. Nobody's listening. Honk, honk. Nobody's listening. Honk, honk. Nobody's listening. But for the record, again, if you don't know this, I was born and raised in Oklahoma City. I was there until I was 18 when I won a scholarship and went away to Vanderbilt University. I've made it painfully clear why I could not ever get my arm around the 2012 Thunder who went to the finals against LeBron and Dwayne Wade and company. KD and Russ and James Harden were just so unlikable. KD was such a thin-skinned diva. Russ was such an egomaniacal solo act. Harden was just so untrustworthy in the biggest games. I just couldn't get my arm around them. And by the way, just to remind you, if you don't know, starting back in 1999, I became a Spurs fan way before I imagined my hometown ever having an NBA team. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I was a Duncan Ginobili Parker fan, never much of a Pop fan. But once the big three were gone in San Antonio, I couldn't help it. I drifted away from the Spurs because my heart is in my hometown. And 2 years ago, not this year, but 2 years ago, as I told you, I fell in love with these Thunder. This all for one and one for all team, T-E-A-M team that loves dominating and annihilating together more than any team I have ever closely observed, especially an NBA team. They're led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the best leader now in all of sports. Ain't even close. This team has insisted from the start in doing post-game on-floor interviews together as a T-E-A-M team. And I'm pretty sure it's completely authentic. I have never seen a more united and unified NBA team, a more lovable NBA team. The Oklahoma City University Thunder, I have called them repeatedly on this show. This is March Madness in April, May, and June. Yet nobody outside Oklahoma City loves the Thunder except me. I don't think anybody hates the Thunder. They just don't care about the Thunder. And they definitely don't love the Thunder. The Western Conference Finals ratings, they're pretty awful. Even though those Western Conference Finals featured the new face of the league, who's in every other TV commercial that I see, Minnesota's Ant-Man, who, as I kept pointing out last year and predicted this year, turned right on schedule into Can't-Man. So I guess when people figured out, well, I was right about Anthony Edwards, they stayed away from their TVs and their phones in droves because they did not care about the Thunder. I don't know, maybe the Thunder just bore them to death. Even though, believe it or not, the Thunder broke the all-time record held for more than half a century by the 1971-72 Los Angeles Lakers for point differential. The Thunder outscored opponents by 12.9 points per game, eclipsing the 71-72 Lakers 12.3 points per game. That's dramatic. That's drastic. They obliterated the all-time about 50-year-old record, did the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder won the stacked Western Conference by 16 games. That's a record for winning either conference ever. They annihilated that record. And just as astonishing, the Thunder set another record. They went 29-1 against the East. No team in one conference has ever gone better than that against the opposing conference. All-time record. They lost one game at Cleveland by 7 on January the 8th without Chet Holmgren, their extraordinary rim protector, and without Alex Caruso, their most disruptive defender. Yet they turned right around 8 days later, still without Chet or Caruso, and got even with Cleveland in Oklahoma City, 134-114 by 20. That's what they do. I can make a case just off the numbers. This was the most dominating season in NBA history. But nobody cares. And here was the PR problem. The age-old cliche, defense wins championships, certainly applies to the Thunder. But dominating defense does not drive TV ratings and national popularity, unless maybe you're the 1985 Chicago Bears playing that other game, football. The Thunder's best offense is the most devastating defense I have ever seen an NBA team play. Even more psychologically and physically devastating than the 1998 Bulls I covered. Those Bulls could station Jordan and Pippen and Ron Harper at half court and just make it very difficult for your guards to even get the ball past half court. They had 6'7" Dennis Rodman manning the back line of that defense, but those Bulls didn't have a Holmgren, didn't have a Hartenstein protecting their rim. Those Bulls didn't have nearly the depth of these Thunder who attack you in waves of demonic defenders. Defenders who led the league in regular season steals and now lead the playoffs in opponents' turnovers. Here's a quick note for you. In the playoffs, they're forcing 18 turnovers a game, and they've converted them into 24 points a game. That's up from what they did in the regular season, which was 17 turnovers forced a game and 22 points off turnovers. Think about that. They're increasing their regular season dominance in the postseason. It's almost as if these Thunder have hijacked these playoffs by playing a revolutionary way no one can quite figure out or comprehend. They smoke you with pot, with points off turnovers. Smoke you with pot. They are extremely difficult to dribble against or pass against because they are going to get their hands on your basketball. They're going to slap it free. They're going to deflect it. They're going to tip it. They're going to dislodge it. With every single second, attack mode defense, just swarm you with defense. All in defense. And once they get their hands on loose basketballs, Lord have mercy, are they fun to watch. You think the Pacers play fast? The Thunder hit you with thunderbolts off forced turnovers. They push it. They beat you back down the floor. They attack your rim. They smoke you with pot, points off turnovers. The 2025 Thunder are the most exciting team in all of basketball that nobody watches. I just don't get it. Why do you think that in 4 games against the Thunder over the past 2 years, the great Tyrese Halliburton has averaged 12 points a game in 4 games? He's 6 feet 5 inches tall. He's averaged 12 points a game in 4 games because of this 4-headed monster. 6 foot 5 inch Caruso, 6 foot 3 inch Cason Wallace, 6 foot 4 inch Lou Dort, who was first team all defense, and 6 foot 5 inch Jalen Williams, second team all defense. Can you imagine what's about to happen to the Pacers as they go from getting any shot they wanted against those defenseless Knicks, those no defense playing Knicks? When they go from that to getting hit between the eyes with OKC Thunderbolts, think about this. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton had Jalen Brunson guarding him, who cares very little about playing any defense at all. I think Jalen Brunson's like 5 feet 11 inches tall to 6 foot 5 inch Halliburton. Think about what's going to happen when Lou Dort D's up on Halliburton, as he has in the past, and the stats scream that Halliburton has no chance against Lou Dort. Just shuts him down. But I guess kids aren't buying number 5 Lou Dort jerseys because, man, it's hard to become a fan of the NBA's best perimeter defender. What kid wants to emulate Lou Dort by getting down in a defensive stance in the living room at home? Nobody does. Nobody cares. Okay. Then what about the best player in all of basketball, the MVP, SGA? What's wrong with him? Oh, he's from Canada? Well, Luka's from Slovenia and Joker's from Serbia. I mean, at least Canada's just next door, right? But SGA is cool to a fault. Doesn't show a lot of emotion. He remains calm and extremely cool. Off the court, he just might be the NBA's most fashionable dresser, but he doesn't flaunt it. He's not showy Westbrookian with it. And on the court, he doesn't flash explosive Jordan Kobe athleticism that amazes the easily amazed out there among fandom. He doesn't dunk like Ant-Man can power slam. Nor does he shoot threes like lovably baby-faced Steph always shoots logo threes. Yet, SGA attacks the rim more and more effectively than any player in basketball. That statistically attacks the rim more than any player in basketball. No 2 defenders can keep SGA from getting to the rim, even though he often finesse finishes up off the glass. And while SGA is a very good 3-point shooter, he doesn't fall into the 3-point shooting trap that Luka and Cantman always do. I mean, threes sell. See Golden State, see Boston to a certain extent, but threes don't always win unless you're Steph Curry or those crazy shooting Celtics. You can, as you know, live and die by the 3. SGA lives on automatic 2s, and nobody cares. Nobody can keep SGA from getting to his spot. Elbows, free throw line elbows extended. Nobody can keep him getting to his spot for those smooth as butter 2-point jumpers that he makes as if they're layups. I've never seen anything like it before. It's just sweet, easy, just like layup shooting. It's free throw shooting 2-point jumpers. But 2-point jumpers he makes look so easy do not sell jerseys or products. SGA's in one national TV commercial for AT&T alongside 2 of his teammates, Chet and J-Dub. He has to share the stage with 2 teammates, which is fitting. All for one, one for all. They even advertise as a team. And by the way, the only controversy surrounding SGA through these playoffs, even though he's been by far the best and clutchest player. He's been the free throw merchant, said Minnesota Timberwolves fans. Okay, so I'm looking at the stats now on free throw shooting. Through the playoffs, SGA has averaged 9.2 free throws a game. It's pretty high, but in the 5 games that Giannis played, he was at 12.6 a game. Donovan Mitchell played 9 games, lasted 9 games, and he was at 9.9 a game. So that was, again, 0.7 of a point higher than, or an attempt higher than SGA at 9.2. Luka shot 9.2 a game. They got swept, obviously, by the Timberwolves. But this whole idea that SGA is getting every call like James Harden used to get every call, that he's a free throw merchant, is just absurd. He's really good, and he's earning the free throw attempts he gets, which aren't ridiculously high. So stop it with that. But that's all he's got. That's the only attention he's gotten. So Converse dropped a commercial the night SGA and company closed out Campman and the T-Wolves. It was a signature sneaker print on an anthill, in the dirt on the anthill, as one lone ant looked desperately lost. I thought it was an inspired troll, but it was fittingly and powerfully subtle. Too subtle. That's SGA. That's the Thunder. Draymond Green, now a far more impactful podcaster than he is a player, set the national narrative about halfway through the regular season when he said on his podcast, "Nobody fears the Oklahoma City Thunder." So I guess America just tuned out. How can fans be awed by a bunch of nobodies from nowhere that no NBA star fears? Where's Draymond hiding now? I haven't heard from him lately. But now I'm sure most NBA fans are saying, well, if Kyrie hadn't gotten hurt, if Ja hadn't gotten hurt, if Steph hadn't gotten hurt, if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum hadn't gotten hurt, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm already hearing about the Indiana Pacers, the comeback kings, the miracle workers. So they've had 3 great escapes through these playoffs. They were down 7 with 40 seconds in Game 5, first round versus the Bucks, and won. They were down 7 with 50 seconds left in Game 2 against the Cavs, and they came back and won. They were down 14 with 2:51 left. Game 1, as you remember, against the Knicks, and they came back and won in overtime. And I ask you seriously, do you really think they're going to come back this way against this defense, the greatest defense I've ever seen in the history of professional basketball that I know? Seriously, I ask you, do you think against that 4-headed monster they're going to be able to come back like this? Do you think against the 2-headed monster guarding the rim they're going to come back like this? Wake up and look at the numbers, people. The record-shattering numbers, people. This team had 54 double-digit wins. That's more than Houston had wins. And Houston finished second in the West to the Thunder. Think about that. Please watch these Thunder do to the Pacers what they've done to everybody else. Please watch the greatest defensive team ever deliver thunder and lightning. Please watch the dawn of a dynasty. If you're a real sports fan, you will watch. You will tell your friends the next morning, I just saw something I've never seen before. You will be awed. You will be wildly entertained. Trust me, I know. Okay, now for my NBA Finals picks. And hey, if you're thinking about betting a few bucks on the NBA Finals, the only place to start is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It's the Cowboys and Lakers and Yankees all rolled into one. The place to be, the dominant franchise, the official sports betting partner of the NBA is FanDuel. Find all the best player props on FanDuel. Get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's consistently hitting the over, who's flirting with triple doubles. Once the game starts, it can get really interesting when you can combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. Why not give FanDuel a shot today? You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. It's pretty cool. Just visit FanDuel.com/skip. Use my first name /skip. You could join today. Do it now. FanDuel.com/skip. Okay, so for Thursday night's game 1, Thunder are now favored by, believe it or not, 9.5, which is pretty much the way it was against Denver and Minnesota, both of which are better than the Pacers. Yeah, it's an 8-day layoff for the Thunder, but they had a longer layoff before their first-round series against Memphis, and they were ready to rumble in that game 1. I'll take the rest over the rust. I believe the Thunder will throw the first knockout punch against a team that won't be able to simulate and practice the overwhelming speed and tenacity of the Thunder defense. It will take the Pacers 2 games to recalibrate after playing 6 games against a Knicks team that just gave Indy just about anything they wanted. Knicks don't play defense. The one game the Pacers played in Oklahoma City during the regular season resulted in OKC winning by 21, so I'll go OKC by 20 in game 1 and to cover the 9.5. Then for the entire finals, I'm going to have to go with the chalk, Thunder in 5. I'm tempted to go sweep, and maybe by Thursday I'll talk myself into a sweep, but I do believe that the Indy crowd will will them to one win. I'll say game 3, the first game in Indianapolis, of course, so I'll stick with gentleman's sweep, 5 games. That's FanDuel.com/SKIP, skip. Quick sip of dew. Okay, I preface my next opinion with a statement on the website of the church I regularly attend and support. The statement says, and I quote, "We affirm that a God-filled perspective understands and embraces diversity and radical inclusivity. For that reason, we embrace and affirm the full inclusion of everyone, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. We explicitly welcome lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people who have been marginalized and diminished by other churches. You are welcome here. You are supported here. You are included here, period, close quotes, end of statement." Now for my opinion. A transgender athlete who was born male just won the girls' high jump and the girls' triple jump at a California high school meet. And I say no. It is not fair for an athlete born with male genetics to compete in female-only competition, though there are obviously some exceptions. In general, male genetics give a trans girl unfair advantage over competitors who were born female. I am all for radical inclusivity at the church I attend. This trans athlete would certainly be welcome at my church. But it is simply not right for this trans athlete to be allowed by the state of California to compete against biological girls. I'm sorry, it's just not fair. This isn't a political opinion. It's just my gut feeling as a sports fan. Okay, allow me to point out a very weird phenomenon that could have a huge impact on these NBA finals. The Indiana Pacers go as Tyrese Halliburton goes. They're 30-3 when he scores 20 plus points. But every so often, fairly regularly, Halliburton goes south, shockingly, inexplicably south for entire games. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this from a two-time All-Star. Cases in point, I scanned his game logs for the regular and the postseason. Now, during the season, all his duds came on the road. Quick cases in point. October 25th, 26 minutes, 0 points at Knicks. November 1st, 33 minutes, 11 points at New Orleans. November 8th, 34 minutes, 6 points on 2 of 11 shots at Charlotte. November 20th, 30 minutes, 4 points on 1 of 7 shooting at Houston. December 1st, 37 minutes, 8 points at Memphis. December 26th, 35 minutes, 4 points on just 2 of 6 shots at Oklahoma City. January 12th, only 19 minutes and a 15-point win at Cleveland, but only 2 points on 1 of 5. February 4th, 25 minutes, 0 points on 0 of 3 shots in a 23-point loss at Portland. What? March 26th, 32 minutes and a 1-point loss at Lakers, 16 points and 18 assists. Way to go. But 1 of 9 from 3. Wow. April 6th, 35 minutes, only 9 points in a 5-point win at Cleveland. Who knew? Now, playoffs. In a Game 1 home win over Milwaukee, 34 minutes and only 10 points on 3 of 13 and 0 of 7 from 3. In a Game 3 22-point home loss to Cleveland, 30 minutes, 4 points and only 5 assists. And of course, I'm sure most of you watched this one, Game 5 at Knicks, 32 minutes, only 8 points on only 2 of 7 shots. Sometimes Halliburton just goes game-long cold. Sometimes he goes entire games just without shooting much. Maybe there is some scoring point guard identity crisis going on. Halliburton did lead the league in assists last season and finished 3rd in assists this year. So maybe the scoring doesn't come completely naturally to him, even though the stats scream that the Pacers go as Halliburton scores, not assists. So as you watch TV try to turn Tyrese Halliburton into the most lovable star in these finals, just remember he does have a strange glitch in his system. He is very capable of no-shows, very capable of deserving to have opponents give him the choke sign as he gave Madison Square Garden. If Tyrese Halliburton has even one no-show in the first 4 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder, man, you can get out the brooms. I end today with what I ended with on last Monday's show. My school's baseball team. 1 week ago, I raved about how my alma mater, the only Ivy League quality school in the Southeastern Conference, holds its own in football and basketball and often just dominates in baseball, dynastically dominates. I all but did backflips over how my Vanderbilt Commodore baseball team had caught fire, swept the SEC tournament without a single loss, then was chosen the nation's number 1 overall seed on the road to Omaha. So we obviously supposedly had the easiest regional at home in Nashville, and we should have lost Game 1 to Wright State. Their coach pulled their pitcher inexplicably. Pitcher had a no-hitter through 6 innings. We battled back from down 3-0 to win 4-3, but then we lost to Louisville 3-2, then got eliminated on Sunday by Wright State, them again, 5-4. Then Louisville beat Wright State to move on. my Commodores, the nation's #1 seed, got bounced out at home by Louisville and Wright State. And by the way, it was the first time since this system was implemented 26 years ago that a #1 overall seed didn't even advance to the regional final at home. It was just devastating, and it was embarrassing. And I take some blame, some responsibility. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have just let them play. They were not a great baseball team. In fact, 3/4 of the way through the season, and I follow them very closely, they were just a pretty good team in the toughest, deepest baseball conference in America, the SEC. But they did catch late fire. They won their last 8 SEC games against high-level NCAA tournament-bound competition. And they found themselves, wait, what? We're the #1 overall seed in the tournament? They weren't ready for that. They weren't ready for all the publicity and all the expectation I helped heap upon their heads. The pressure had them pressing at the plate, failing in game-changing situations with runners in scoring position at home against teams they should have beaten. You know, nobody expected them to do much in the SEC tournament, and they would have gone much farther just sneaking into the NCAA tournament as an underdog, not as the top dog. I will admit I got a little queasy when I read an ESPN ranking of the 12 NCAA tournament baseball squads with the most Major League Baseball prospects upon them. Vandy was not one of the 12. Scared me. Oh, well, go get those degrees, men. You are getting one of the best educations in America. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Tyler Korn for producing, to Ernestine for overseeing, and to Hazel for approving.